first of all, how did you come to play Knuckles? Tell me about how the role came to you.
Well, that story is actually a pretty simple story. I just woke up, checked my Facebook messages, and then I was like, who's this guy Micah? And there was a message from him, and it said, hey, check out some of my other work, and I have this series going on, so I checked it out.
What was the first thing you thought when you watched episode 1?
Let me go back in my memory from when I was sitting there watching that. I was really impressed with the fighting styles and just the general style of the film. And I was actually pretty excited to finally be a part of something where I could show off more of my martial arts abilities. I liked the realistic fighting approach in it, and I liked the kind of like Street Fighter look of the characters as well. I thought that's pretty cool. So
Knuckles gets to wear some really awesome outfits, some really colorful, really creative outfits in the series. What did you think when, he was like, you're going to be wearing this?
Well, like Knuckles' style is pretty much the, she always has like really rad tennis shoes on with the high socks, shorts, and sports bra. So it's just different. Every episode is it's always just different color variations on that. And always the black headband. That's like Knuckles' signature. But I like that for sure. You definitely have to be prepared and make sure like I'm in shape to wear something like that.
What is it like choreographing a fight with somebody who does a completely different martial art than you?
That's a good question, because like my first fight, where I was Yellow Knuckles, I'll just call it Bumblebee Knuckles. I'm Green Booger Knuckles.
Green Booger.
Went from Bumblebee Knuckles to purple. Reminds me of like a cobra.
A cobra?
Yeah, normally when they show a picture of a snake, they make it
Purple?
yeah. The second one that I did, Purple Knuckles, that especially with Ryukin, that was Kung Fu versus Karate. That was a challenge. It's hard. Well, for me, it was hard to flow the Kung Fu and the Wushu styles with Karate. I mean, I was able to do some like jiu-jitsu things in there. And then there was the Slugger Squad, so that fight flowed pretty well. That was definitely a fun fight.
That was probably, I have to say, that was probably one of my favorite scenes. It was just so fluent, and I'm going to beat the crap out of you, and then I'm going to beat the crap out of you, and then I'm going to finish you last.
Yeah, but I got kicked.
Oh.
In the end. Mike was like, yeah, it's going to be really funny if you get, like, kicked in the groin, and, like, it's like, okay. And then Mike was like, okay, stand here, and then, like, kind of kicked, like, really hard.
Oh.
And what's funny is, like, when you watch an episode, like, before he runs over, you can see his little eyes through the mask, like all excited before he runs over. You know what I'm talking about, though. You see your eyes, you're all, oh,
Yeah.
I know some of the Slugger Squad members were actually played by Micah Brock during several scenes. Your fight scene in 4 with him, how do you guys had never actually sparred with each other, right? I mean, I know you've done the jiu-jitsu tutorials together, worked choreo together. How did you prepare for that fight scene?
We did have to fight and roll and beat each other in the dirt and mud.
Yeah, you were under a bridge, right?
Yeah. It was under a bridge, and it was dirty and muddy, and what's funny is, like, I woke up the next day with probably, like, I think I had, like, 30 bug bites on my legs, and, like, and then a whole bunch on my arms as well, and I called Mike. I was like, do you have bug bites? And he's like, yeah. But of course, he didn't have shorts on, though, so he didn't have bug bites on his legs. But, yeah, his arms were coated in bug bites, and mine were just, like, my legs.
Other than bug bites and getting kicked really hard, what would you say is the worst thing that's happened on a shoot day?
One day it was probably, like, 150 degrees minimum. I had to wait for, like, the rest of the people filming, and like, I think I got heat exhaustion because, like, there was no shade anywhere. I somehow, like, fell asleep in the hot sun, like, right there when I was waiting. And I woke up with complete heat delirium. And like I was like wandering around like and acting like a totally different person.
Everybody's like, where's Tess?
Yeah, no, really. And then they saw me like wandering off, like looking at plants and stuff. And
You had a cane stick.
yeah, and I found like a walking stick because like it was in survival mode. But, you know, it's always worth it. You know, it's people have a image of like they see like this finished edited product and like they think like, oh, like that looks so cool and fun. I wish I could do that, and they have no idea how much hard work it is. And
I know you enjoy dancing. You did a little bit of it in 2 and 3.
Hmm.
Tell me a little bit about your dance history. Like, what styles do you like?
I have always done a lot of jazz, hip hop, ballet, so a lot of different styles.
A couple of other cast members have talked about how their dance sort of influences their martial arts, or they feel like it's prepared them for martial arts. What do you feel like the similarities are between dance and martial arts?
The only similarities that I can say is that they're both languages. They're both languages of the body, but they're both completely different languages. I think that's the best way to explain it.
You do acting, you do martial arts, you do dance, you do all of those things. So how do you find time for all that? Like, how do you squeeze it all in?
You don't find time, you make time. Being an artist, you're one of the people who are going against what society's telling you have to do. If I listened to what most people told me I should do, I wouldn't be here right now. I would be probably some normal job behind a desk in a cubicle or something. You just have to make time to do what you love to do, because at the end, are you going to be happy or are you going to regret your decisions you make? And it's, nothing's necessarily secure in life, so you just have to go out there and kind of try your hardest with what you want. So, I get like emails and things from people all the time, like, oh, what you do is so cool. If I had time and if I had money, I would love to be doing what you're doing. I'm like, you have no idea. Like, I work a full-time job. I train like every single day. I'm filming like on my days off. Like, it's non-stop work, and it's a big sacrifice.
What would you say has been the hardest scene for you to do?
When Micah was like, oh, you're going to have to cry really hard. I was like...
Did he kick you again? Is that how he did it?
No, not this time. I was like... like with acting stuff, I'm just like, oh man, I don't look forward to sad scenes, because like you have to pull that feeling out of you, and it's like, who wants to be sad and unhappy and like think of stuff that's so sad that's gonna make you cry. So it's definitely not easy, like for a couple takes to like cry your eyes out and
So
be
it's
like,
definitely
okay,
the
and do
crying
that
scene.
all over again. Do that all over again.